Hey guys, this is Jason over at Kaiser Willys Auto Supply, and today we're working on the rear axle. This is a Dana 41 off of our CJ-2A, and we're gonna go ahead and install the brakes, the hub, the drum. We're gonna install it all. So what we've got here, we've already set our preload on this rear axle. So we've already got the other side already installed. We've installed the shims, so we've got the proper in and out. We're gonna take our retainer here, and you'll notice there's an extra hole there in this pattern. That is by design. That is going to line up with the hole on the flange of the axle housing. So we're gonna go ahead and slip this guy over and put it onto the bolts, which we have already installed onto the flange. This is pretty much the only way you can do this. It does take a little bit of navigating to get it on there. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and grab our pre-made brake backing plate and brakes assembly, which we did in another video. We're gonna put our lower adjusting cams towards the bottom, which is in this case, the left side of the screen. So we'll go ahead and get everything squared up and then onto the gasket. So we're gonna grab the gasket for the oil seal. There's two of these. This is going to be the first one. As you start adding things onto this, it does make it just a little bit more difficult. So what we've got next is the oil seal. We're gonna go ahead and put just a little bit of grease on there, on the rubber part of the seal. That helps the hub to slide in just a little bit more freely when we install that. The next thing we did was we put just a little bit of grease on the key slot of the axle shaft. We're gonna line that hole up again because each one of these things do have a hole that is going to line up for a weep hole for any sort of catch of grease. This is probably going to be one of the harder parts of getting these things on, as is the next gasket. Once we get this oil seal seated properly, we'll grab our second gasket. So this gasket is going to be important because the grease shield is going to then sit on top of it. This is going to act more or less like a buffer between the two metal surfaces, between the oil seal flange and the grease shield itself. Now we have our grease shield. What you'll notice on the bottom of this grease shield is there's a little catch, and it's just that little angled piece there at the bottom. What that does is it's going to actually catch any sort of liquid that would have happened from a leak, and then it would redirect it through all of those holes that we have on each one of those items and out the actual axle so that you don't have to worry about that getting on your shoes. Now we're going to install our hardware. We've got the lock washers and the nuts. And just like anything else, when you have a pattern like this, it always is a good idea to go ahead and tighten these guys in a star pattern, just like you would a wheel. Once we get these guys tightened down, we're gonna go ahead and finish it off by setting the torque to 25 to 30 foot-pounds. It doesn't take a lot, but what you might have to do is if you have this out of the vehicle like us, you might have to have a helping hand so that you can set that torque. It doesn't take a lot. Or if you've got it in the vehicle already, you're set. Now we're gonna grab our hub and drum, which we've already pressed the studs in. We're gonna line up the slot for the key. We're gonna slip it in before we actually slide the drum and hub back all the way. It just makes it easier to get it in there. You may have to do some adjustment on your lower cams to get everything centered properly, or your upper adjusting eccentrics so that the brake shoes aren't holding up that drum from going on. With a brass punch, you're gonna go ahead and tap the key in until it's flush with the hub. You may have to do a little bit of wiggling around to get things to seat properly there. You'll see that the hub actually slipped into place. We'll finish it off with our brass punch. Next, you're gonna grab your washer and castellated nut. You'll torque this nut to 150 foot-pounds once this is on the vehicle. And if you need a little extra space for that cotter pin, up it by 10 foot-pounds and tighten it until you get the cotter pin hole to line up for you properly. And there you have it.